Hey, good morning, friends. It's Julie McNamara, counselor at Gross Catholic, and I'm joined today with my good friend Joan Jurek from Education Quest. As I run back around the table, Joan, why don't you tell folks what Education Quest is all about?
Bet. Hi, Julie. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. Education Quest is a private nonprofit organization. We provide free college planning services to help students and parents through the whole college process of how and when and where do I look for colleges, how do I apply, how do I look for scholarships, and more importantly, how do we do financial aid. We do all of that for absolutely free. You just need to call us for an appointment if you're interested in any assistance.
Thanks, Joan. All right, so today our college talk focus is going to be things that seniors can be working on now to help prepare for the fall. So the first thing that we want to encourage students to be doing is continue to check back with your colleges of interest. So if there are some colleges that you've identified as potential schools for your future, be checking in with them to see what they're offering as far as campus visits or information to help you make that decision for the right school. I know in the current situation, things have been a little tough as far as getting on campus for a visit. So check back in, because some schools are starting to open up. They're starting to offer some, private tours of campus, things of that nature. So it's a good idea to check back in with those schools.
And the more you do now to research those schools, the easier it's going to be in just a few months when you have to narrow it down and you're actually wanting to apply for admission. So when you're talking to schools, remember, compare apples to apples and take a look at their overall campus.
Joan, what if a student has not really started this process too much? Is it too late? Are they in serious trouble?
No, it's never too late. It's better just to do it, take the plunge, and just start researching schools. We always want to say, keep in mind, maybe a dream school. Julie, where would you absolutely want to go? I don't know. Keep in mind a reality school and then a fallback school.
Good advice. Okay, so another thing that our students could be working on would be to update their resume or write their resume if they haven't done that yet.
Possible.
Yes, possible. So Education Quest has a fantastic tool on their website, which is www.educationquest.org. And they have a activities builder tool that would help students put together a resume. So Joan, I'm going to let you talk a little bit about what that tool looks like and what students can do with that.
Okay. The activities resume is a great way to put all of your activities, your accomplishments, your awards, your after work experience all into one place. Because when it comes time to applying for college admissions and scholarships, more than likely they're going to ask, what have you done? What have you accomplished? What have you been involved in? So the activities resume is a lot like our professional resume, to keep track of all of those accomplishments and turn it into somebody who wants to know about you. The other great tip I like to have students do with a resume is give it to your teacher or to a youth sponsor that you're going to have write a letter of recommendation, because they maybe didn't know that you were actively in 4-H or another club until they see that on your resume. So our activities resume builder, it does save all of your information for up to 9 months. As long as you go out there and update it, it'll save for another 9 months. So it's all right there. You can customize it really nice and be ready to hit send to your organizations.
It's a great tool. Now a student would need to create some sort of a sign-in or login, right?
Yes.
Can you talk about that just a little bit?
So we have a tool called My Education Quest that you're going to log in with all of your general information. And that's a good way to set up everything, so that way you can also use our scholarship finder, which we're going to talk about that later. Okay. But go into My Education Quest and create your account to do the actual activities resume.
Awesome. Okay, so another thing that our students could be working on is preparing for the ACT.
Yeah.
If in fact they need to take it maybe for the first time, or maybe they're retaking because they're trying to improve a score. And I know that this has been a struggle for a lot of students. That I know there were several tests that were canceled and rescheduled and all of that kind of thing. So preparing and getting ready for those fall ACTs would be something the student could be working on right now. I know that ACT they added a few new tests to their schedule for the fall.
Yes.
So checking at ACT's website, which is www.act.org, you can see all of the test dates that are available for the fall. But there are some different ways that students can work to prepare for the ACT. Some of those are free, some of those you can pay for. There's a free service right with ACT at their website called act.academy. And this particular tool allows students to either put in scores from an ACT test that they've taken, and then it will identify where their weaknesses are, and it prepares problems and examples and work for them to do to try and strengthen in a particular area. If a student has not taken the ACT yet, then they can take like a placement test, if you will, or like a practice test, yeah. And then based on those results, ACT would create an individualized program for that student to then improve in areas where they see weaknesses. There are some paid options, and I would say that students should visit with their counselor if they were interested in looking for some of those options that do have a cost included with their services. So feel free to reach out to your counselor if that's something that you're interested in.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, the next thing that students could be working on right now would be a personal statement or like a general essay that they might use for a scholarship. Joan, do you want to talk a little bit about some things maybe they should think about including as they're writing those statements or essays?
Well, when you write a personal statement, you want to be sure that you're writing about what sets you aside from your competition, like Julie. So what would I write about to be able to sell myself to a college or to an organization? You have to step back and think about that for just a little bit. You might say, well, I don't have anything. I didn't have an opportunity to maybe be in sports or activities because I worked an after-school job. Well, you know what? That's important to know because organizations will oftentimes look at that as it's extracurricular. How are you managing your time along with schoolwork and helping your family or to save for college? So your personal statement should be something unique to you, and how are you going to be able to sell yourself to that organization?
Some other things you could think about including in that essay would be to think about maybe what your strengths are as a human and your strengths as a student, right? What's going to make you successful in college or maybe in a future career? And if you're not really sure about what your strengths are, it might be kind of interesting to ask people who know you well. So maybe ask your parents or ask some close friends. What do they see in you as strengths that might set you apart from another person as well? So
get their opinion.
Definitely. And be descriptive, work on trying to make it memorable so that when those colleges are reading your essay, you really stand apart from another applicant.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think about my daughter, one of my daughter's friends who wrote her essay and had me read it afterwards. I thought, this is something I'm going to remember because of what she put in that personal statement that really knows who she is. I won't forget it.
And Joan, you just made a great last point. Always have someone else read your essay. Right? Whether it's, maybe it's an English teacher if you feel like your English skills, need to be checked, or maybe it's just another person who knows you well, or maybe it's someone who doesn't know you well, and they, then you kind of get feedback as far as whether or not it was kind of a memorable type of essay. So have someone read your essay before you submit it for something.
Yes.
Okay. Research scholarships. This is a great time, the lazy, hazy days of summer, to start looking for ways to get free money. Scholarships can be so helpful for a student who wants to attend college. So starting to look for those opportunities and options for scholarships is a really good thing to do now, so that when those deadlines start approaching, you know the scholarships you want to apply for. Education Quest has a fantastic tool at their website called Scholarship Quest. And Joan, I'm going to let you talk about this, but this is a multifaceted, very robust tool for students to use. So I'll give you a minute. Go ahead.
Okay, so Scholarship Quest allows students to look for scholarships in Nebraska. No, it is not comprehensive. Unfortunately, there is no such thing as a comprehensive scholarship search. It's a matter of using everything you can put your hands on. So Scholarship Quest allows you to go in, put in your extracurricular activities, organizations or affiliations that you or your parents are associated with, and it looks for possible scholarships within that database. Also, sometimes we have questions about, well, why didn't it pull up this scholarship? Or I'm just going to throw out an example. What if I'm a left-handed, very creative artist and it's not pulling up the left-handed scholarship? Well, maybe there is just a particular reason why it didn't pull up, your demographic information. But don't get discouraged. Continue to look for those scholarships. So Scholarship Quest is only one search program, but there's also links to about 8 or 9 other national scholarships.
I think there's 9.
Ask the counselor that the school students can go in and take a look at those and put in their information, their demographics, and it will do the sort for you.
So those additional 9 search tools on the website will also find scholarships outside of Nebraska, right? Because those are national searches.
Yeah.
So the Scholarship Quest tool itself helps Nebraska scholarships or scholarships within Nebraska.
Yeah, and you don't have to be staying in Nebraska to use those. They're just Nebraska based.
Right. And then the other tools will then broaden that search nationally to hundreds and hundreds of other scholarships. There are so many out there, and there really is a left-handed scholarship. That's a real thing.
And one other quick, it is. One other quick thing about scholarships too is students, you might say, oh, it's too early for that. Well, actually, the more scholarships you can research and find right now, buy a cheap Dollar Tree, okay? Buy a cheap accordion file folder. Put your information in there based on deadline date, just information that by the month when you need to pull it out and start working on that scholarship. The more you can find now and get yourself organized, the better, because once fall hits, school activities, sports, band, etc., you are going to be busy.
It's true. It's true. And when you're researching those scholarships, you have an opportunity to see what sort of requirements they have. So if you have to have an essay or if you have to answer some particular questions, you have a little more time to think about that before that deadline's right on top of you.
Yeah.
Okay. So moving along, things to do this fall. Of course, we want our students to take the ACT if needed. I'll just speak briefly about the fact that there are several schools who are moving to a test optional admissions. So they're saying they don't necessarily require an ACT for admissions to the school. But keep in mind, those ACTs could be helpful for scholarship purposes. So before you write off the ACT and decide you're not going to take it, make sure that that's a good decision, because you really may want to have an ACT score to apply for certain scholarships.
Right. Yep. So then also just be sure that you're narrowing down your colleges. So ideally, if you have 5 or 6 different schools in mind that you're looking at, great. Be prepared that you want to narrow those 5 or 6 down to maybe 3 or 4 that you actually want to apply for admission to in just another month or so.
And at this time, it would be good to kind of start thinking about that financial aid process. It can be kind of a cumbersome thing to some families, and so starting to kind of understand what that process looks like, so as things begin to roll in the fall, you're ready to kind of roll with it. The FAFSA, which we were going to make a whole nother video on the FAFSA, so we're not going to say too much about it now, but that is something that opens up October 1st. So once October hits and you're beginning with the FAFSA, understanding the process of financial aid is helpful.
Absolutely. The more times you hear it, the more times it's going to start to actually make sense. Kind of like that history lesson that you had.
So, as we get into the fall, students are going to be looking at applying to schools and completing that FAFSA and starting to really narrow down that college choice.
Fall will be busy.
Fall is busy, definitely. Okay, so in conclusion, seniors, this is a super exciting year and a busy time Procrastination is not going to be your friend. So make sure that you're managing your time and trying to stay on top of this process. Ask questions. There are so many people who are willing to help you. Your counselor at your school, Education Quest is a fantastic resource for college help and financial aid help.
Free, free, free. Counselors help is free. Education Quest is free. Your college admissions free. Make sure you hone in on that.
That's right. That's right. And remember, take time to study, take time to play, relax, take a breath. Frequently take a breath, exercise, maybe just, enjoy life. Don't get too bogged down in the process, but at the same time, stay on top of the process.
Minimize screen time, just a little.
Right. Take good care of yourself. Let your counselor know if you're feeling out of balance. They can kind of help you refocus and get back on top of the tasks and the things that need to be done. So, with that said, we will sign off. Until the next video, take care.
Bye.